Well, good morning, everyone. We are always delighted to see so many of you in our award-winning Woolsey Hall, the coolest office in Wichita, Oscar-nominated. No, I'm just kidding. But you never know. This could be a great scene to have a nice movie production and kind of create that lifetime experience. But really wanted to give you a warm welcome to all of you to be with us this morning for this inspirational keynote presentation. My name is Larissa Jenin. Yes, I am the one who's sending you a lot of emails to make sure you don't miss any of our events, along with our team members who are doing that. I'm the Dean of the Barton School of Business, and welcome to our home. And we hope that this is the home where we transform lives of students and we create challenging yet supportive learning environment. And not just students, it's a home for our faculty, staff, for our alums, for our supporters, for our community, business community. And really wanted to give all of you a warm welcome for being with us this morning. Please join me in applauding. Thank you. I'd like to recognize a few individuals in the audience, and if they could signal their presence with waving or standing. It is my great honor and pleasure to say that we have President Muma, Rick Muma, the president of Wichita State University, with us this morning. Dr. Shirley Lefevre, Executive Vice President and Provost of Wichita State University. Dr. Elizabeth King, President and CEO of WSU Foundation Alumni Engagement, ready to pursue the next blooming chapter of her life very soon. And sitting next to her is Telly Magehe, our newly announced and appointed President and CEO of WSU Foundation and Alumni Engagement. And also, I'd like to give a warm welcome to the President's cabinet members and the deans and other administrators at Wichita State University. If you could maybe just stand or wave and be recognized. I would love for all of you to also pick up a copy of our annual report where you can kind of have a sneak peek at behind the scenes at what's happening in the Barton School. And on this cover, you will also recognize a two-time Barton School alum. We are very proud, inspired, and grateful, and an inspirational story about the legacy, the entrepreneurial journey of Dan Cartney, written by Gayla Carney, and Dan and Gayla are with us this morning. And I don't think Dan needs an introduction. Dan is the co-founder of Pizza Hut, and we are just inspired by the legacy and the impact. And it's just truly an honor for me to get to know both of you and work on this special project with Gayla, with lifetime memories, lots of pictures, many conversations about Dan. So why don't we move on? And I really am inspired by today's event. We have a very special duet or duo. Our entrepreneurs in residence for this semester are Gene and Yolanda Camarena. They're gonna engage in a very insightful conversation and discussion in front of all of you. Then you'll get to ask questions, and then we'll take 1,000 pictures in the atrium and do other engagements. The topic for today is Unlocking Success, Key Insights from Visionary Entrepreneurs on Building, Innovating, and Transforming Futures. And I will say that as I got to know Gene and Yolanda Camarena, this is the epitome of a yin and a yang in all possible ways. This is just so inspiring to watch them, how this relationship keeps blooming and keeps growing and impacting all of us personally and professionally. This conversation this morning will be moderated And the name I'm going to pronounce, I don't think even needs an introduction. So when I say Fayola, you know Fayola. And where is Fayola? He's standing right there. Please join me in welcoming Fayola, who is going to be moderating this. Fayola is a media personality who, through many local collaborations, has been titled Mr. Wichita. He has partnered with some of the most recognizable nationwide and local brands today, has interviewed some of the leading industry executives, top celebrities, musicians, athletes, politicians, and of course, top business school, Barton School of Business. So warm welcome to Faye. All right, so moment we've been waiting for, at least I have. Let me introduce Gene Camarena. As president and CEO of La Raza Pizza, Gene's business interests include Pizza Hut restaurants, Marriott hotels, banking, and real estate development. In the past 10 years, these business holdings have been recognized as being in the top 150 largest Hispanic-owned businesses in the country. Gene served 3 terms as the chairman of International Pizza Hut Franchise Association Board, was recently inducted into Pizza Hut Franchisee Hall of Fame. He also serves as the chair of Kansas Big Brothers and Big Sisters, Empower Pizza Hut Foundation Hispanic Scholarship Fund, which provides more than $30 million in scholarships annually. Gene is on the board of Work Towards Hispanic in Real Estate, United Way of the Plains, and University of Kansas Endowment Board of Trustees. He received a master's degree in business administration from Harvard University and a bachelor's of science in accounting and business of administration from the University of Kansas. Yolanda Camarena is currently serving on the national board of the Mexican American Legal Defense Fund, Empower Evergreen, Newman University, Phillips Fundamental Learning Center, Hispanic Scholarship Fund Advisory Council, National Advisory Council for Wichita State University. She's also the chair of the Schools and Scholarship Committee of Harvard College, member of various city and community organizations. Yolanda was also featured in the nationally recognized book, Latina Leadership Lessons, 50 Latinas Speak. Her career in higher education administration includes serving as a director of admissions for Newman University, associate director of graduate programs at Kennedy School of Government at Harvard University, and regional coordinator for the LULAC Educational Service Center. She holds a master's degree in public administration and education policy from Harvard University and a bachelor's degree in education from WSU. She's also a recipient of the doctoral degree from Newman University, and as you know, as of recently, in December, both Yolanda and Gene Camarena are recipients of the honorary degree from Wichita State University. Please join me in welcoming Yolanda and Gene Camarena onto the stage.
Good to see you. Good to see you. What's going on? All right. Barton School of Business, how we doing today, everybody? Yeah? What in the world? Hey, it is good weather. It is the middle of the week. Almost the end of the week. That was weak. One more time. Barton School of Business, how are we doing today? Yeah. Come on. Come on. Man. Who was at the Shocker game last night? Raise your hands. There we go. Y'all the real ones. Y'all were there till 10 at night, so y'all don't got to be loud. Everybody else, y'all got y'all rest, all right? So my name is Fayola. This is going to be a very, very fun conversation. We have 2 people that it's just so inspiring because what Larissa said about them being yin and yang, it's so true. But in my opinion, whenever you have those type of differences and those types of personalities that balance each other out, you really create a really special combination. And Gene and Yolanda have that. Not only are they inspiring, they are extremely funny in a very low-key way. We were laughing a lot earlier. So get ready for a really inspiring, educational, and hopefully, a lighthearted conversation. We're going to be talking about business, going to be talking about, mental health, going to be talking about supporting others, and it should be fun. Are you guys ready? Are y'all ready? Come on. I love it. Make sure you guys write your notes and get ready. So Yolanda and Gene, How we doing? You guys good?
Good.
Well, great.
Come on.
Great to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming out. This is so surprising and humbling. So thank you.
For sure.
And it's so good to see people that we know. That makes it like, okay, I'm okay.
Yeah.
They kind of know some of these stories now.
This is family.
Yeah, no.
I said, but don't give me an Oprah moment where I'm going to like open up and say something.
You get a car, right? That's that. Okay, so, I mean, I hear in the bio, you hear so many names. You hear Chair of Big Brothers Big Sisters, Pizza Hut, I'm here at Harvard. I mean, what else? Did you guys eating breakfast with the president also? I mean, what's going on? You guys are so connected, and what I love about it is you wouldn't even know. There's an aspect of humility that you guys have. So let's dive right into that. Knowing whether it's successes, money, accolades, connections you guys have, what makes you guys still so humble, loving, supportive, and just, always wanting to be connecting to people?
Well, as you see some of these pictures rotate, there's a couple that when I was about 7 or 8, and Yolanda's probably the same age, and you can, humble was how we began. And it's been at least our mission to try and keep that humility throughout your life, because quite frankly, leading with humility or anything that you do with that stance typically makes you a better leader, a better person, better father, better husband, and so and that's. And we learned a lot of that certainly from our parents as well. So that it's just something that we've tried to maintain throughout our whole lives. Plus, that's just the way we are. I mean, it's human nature. So
Yeah. And I think, a lot of what Gene was saying is how we were raised. I have 5 sisters, 6 girls altogether. Believe me, if you know your siblings that you have, they will have a tendency to make you humble, whether you want to be. Especially when it's all girls like that too. And I think it was just really important for us as, we grow up, we go back home. I'm from South Texas. My family were, just as humble as you can get. And I think that just where you just grow up becoming.
Yeah, fully. I love that. So I feel like everybody wants to know, how did you guys meet, right? Tell us your backstory.
go ahead, Yolanda.
Y'all laughing a little too hard. What's going on here?
I always tell the story because they always ask you, like, where you got me? I always tell them that we met at the club. That's it, we met.
Like, legit, you guys met at the club.
Met at the club.
79.
70.
1979.
It would have been Pat O'Brien. No, it was Pat O'Brien. Pat O'Brien. Right there was.
It was in Wichita?
In Wichita. Okay. But it was the discos. And so we didn't have social media then. And we danced every weekend. And there's, I'm sure, a lot of people here who can relate to that and how fun that was. And that was that weekend thing. When you have, like I said, 5 sisters, and we're all very close in age, my one sister had just broken up with a boyfriend, was giving out her name and number, like a deck of cards to everybody. And Gene happened to get one of those cards and stuff too. But that being said, on Monday, they all got back together. Her and her boyfriend got back together. All these guys are calling, and she's saying, I don't want to talk to him. When Gene called, and he's one of them that calls, and I'm over here, and I'm the answering machine, and I'm saying, she's not here. She's not here. And he said, that's good, because I didn't really want to talk to her. I wanted to talk to you.
Look at them. Right? Come on. Throw it on. Dust them up. Oh, man. Oh.
Gene had game, okay?
Yeah, game. Now we got to hear Gene's side of the story. You guys know there's always 2 sides. Let's hear yours.
Yeah, I don't. And again, I don't remember getting one of her cards because.
Yeah.
Gene goes, I don't remember the night. I don't.
But I do remember Yolanda, and I saw her, and we talked that night, and that's and it's one of those things, and I tell people, as an entrepreneur, you make a lot of investments over your lifespan, and And Yolanda was not only the best investment, she was also the most difficult. I spent 10 years trying to convince this lady to marry me. And
Wait, hold up.
2 or
What?
3,
Wait,
yeah,
what?
yeah. And it's, I don't know how many proposals, I don't three different times maybe. Different times in our
You are
lives.
just brushing over huge moments in the story. He proposed 3
Yeah.
different times?
Well, it's a little embarrassing. It's Yolanda feels really good about this, chasing her around. But it's just, when you meet somebody that this is it, this is the one, and it's and I'm telling you right now, our lives, our careers, I just don't know that would have been possible without us being together. With how we just kind of really work. And
I love that. Come on. I love that. So if you guys can take anything from today, just know that when you guys are at Pump House this weekend, you can find true love, right?
Never know. Never know.
Okay, so let's get into, maybe some more educational things, right? Some more business things. You guys at one point had over 70 Pizza Hut franchises. That's a lot. I'm a Papa John's guy, but I'm kidding.
you got the founder of Pizza
Right here.
Where we at? Founder of Papa John's? No. Is that what you said?
Pizza Hut.
Pizza Hut. Oh,
And
I didn't say that. I would love a Pizza Hut sponsorship actually. So so that's amazing. We're gonna edit that of the video. Oh, cool. Edit that out. Here we go. That's incredible. That's a huge feat, right? Even when somebody gets one franchise, that's awesome. What inspired that journey? Were you always in this franchise world? I remember you talking earlier. Didn't you transition from something else?
Yeah, well, out of business school, I came to work, and that's the great thing about Wichita. This is our hometown. I grew up in Salina, but out of Harvard, and we talked about it. Could have gone to London or stayed in New York or Boston, that sort of thing. But I chose to come back to Wichita because Pizza Hut at that time was headquartered here, and at that time, they were a division of PepsiCo. And PepsiCo, Fortune 500 company. So, I could get close to home, and I could work for a Fortune 500 company, and that's I made that decision. And my job at that point was, we were buying back franchisees during that late '80s because we wanted a lot of franchisees hadn't developed a delivery business yet, and the corporate was buying back markets to develop the delivery business and then ultimately sell them again. And the franchisees at that point in time, this Pizza Hut started as a dine-in business, putt to the Pizza Hut, and you go and you get in, and pizza is best eaten in the restaurant when it comes right out of the oven. So I don't blame them for it, but franchisees didn't want to do the delivery business. So, I got to meet all these franchisees, and they were the funnest, happiest people that I'd ever met, and they made a lot of money, and it was like, man, what am I doing on this side? I said, I need to find a way to get onto the franchise side, and so put a little proposal together for 8 restaurants out around Amarillo, Texas. And half of them were losing money, and I said, I'm going to take this. And I reported to the chief financial officer at Pizza Hut at the time, so I passed him, and I just went right to the president, who was Steve Reineman at that time, and who went on to run PepsiCo. And I said, hey, Steve, I want to be a franchisee. Here's my proposal. I'll buy these restaurants from them. You're probably going to close 4 of them. So why not sell them to me and keep your franchise fees going? And that's it. But when you do something like that, and these are one of those initial really decisive moments in a franchisee's career or an entrepreneur's career, that I'm walking away from a very stable income and benefits and that sort of thing, and I'm venturing out into something that I don't really know if I can do this or not. And that is the
Yeah. How did you get the money to invest in those 8? Did you save? Did you have inheritance? How did that part come about?
I saved, didn't have a lot, but then I also had an equity partner that helped with some of the money. But the other thing at that time, part of the deal with PepsiCo was that, hey, you're going to have to help me get these things financed through a bank. And why? And they were like, and so obviously there's always conditions when you do that sort of thing. And one, all right, we'll do that, but we're going to take your franchise fee rate from 4% to 5.5%. So we're going to make sure. And the other thing is, why not? If you're going to close 4 of these things that won't generate franchise fees, why not sell them? And so it was a deal that was good for both parties, and that's and then from then on it was just you grow, and that's the other thing is when you have a business that's running well, save that money up, pay your debt down so you can grow.
I think what you're saying is interesting, but I'm loving it, and this is why I love y'all's relationship, because whenever you're talking, I'm seeing Yolanda's expression. I'm seeing, and what I'm seeing is you're also reminiscing of your perception of what was going on through that time. I'm an engaged man, right? And I have a wedding coming up here pretty soon. And one thing about what I'm doing is I'm a very driven, motivational guy. I like doing big things and dreaming big, or whether it's getting a new camera or starting a new project. And sometimes my fiance will make comments like, we have a wedding to plan. Come on, like what's going on here? Or she'll say, hey, are you thinking of what's the worst that can happen? And we talked earlier, and I remember you also talking to Gene about some of those moments of where you were at in your life. Talk about your perception when he was making these big life changes.
Yeah. One, I had no idea he was even interested in being a franchisee. But it was one evening he came home and we're sitting there at dinner, and he says, okay, Yolanda, what would you say if I quit my job and I buy these Pizza Huts in the panhandle of Texas, in Amarillo somewhere, and we do that? And so I sat there and I said, okay, first of all, we have a 2-year-old and I'm 2 months pregnant, right? So that's the first thing. I said, so I just need to know, do I still keep insurance? So that, gets us through that part. I said, and also, and even as you were saying to this day, I always have, okay, Gene, all you got to do is just tell me, what's the worst that can happen to us? I said, because I can always work from the worst on up and figure it out. But what's the worst that can happen to us? He says, well, we'll keep the house, we both will work, and we'll have 1 car. And I said, well, we already have that, so.
That's all we have.
It can't get much worse than this.
So if it's no worse than that, then I'm okay. But more importantly is I knew how hard he worked through business school. And it wasn't easy. And I knew that, it was hard to even decide where he wanted to go afterwards. And the funny thing is that when he was at the business school, they asked him, so what are you going to do, Gene, when you leave the business school? And they're all going to Fortune 500s or Wall Street, whatever. She goes, well, I'm going to go work for Pizza Hut. But they didn't realize that Pizza Hut the corporate office was in Wichita. So they really thought Gene was just going to go work at a Pizza Hut.
Flip the pizzas and dough.
Yeah. And they're like, why are you going to go do that? You got an MBA. And I knew how hard it was for him. And so I said, you know what? If this is what you want to do, I'm okay. I'm okay. We'll figure it out. We'll go from here. We'll never know. I mean, you'll never know,
Oh. When you're chasing these dreams, you have to have somebody that supports you, and Gene, it seems like Yolanda has been that person for you. Touch a little bit more on, your highs and your lows through your success. Why have you just been so thankful and appreciative of all of Yolanda's support through this whole journey of yours?
Yeah, well, that story, talk about a difficult dinner conversation. That was one of them. But and as you can see, she is very practical. And that's the other thing that I love about her is that she keeps me, when we talk about being humble earlier, she keeps me very humble. But the thing is, she didn't study business or that, but she was probably my best advisor over the years, and quite frankly, her question about what's the worst that can happen, that literally is part of how I go out and evaluate businesses. I always do the worst case scenario first, and we do a lot of modeling and that sort of pro formas and that sort of thing. And it's all right. Let's look at what does this restaurant have to do in sales and costs and that for us to, make a profit. And if we're doing a hotel project, what's the lowest amount of occupancy and average room rate that we can use to or have to for this thing to just break even. So it's but the other thing is, you're right, there are some highs and lows in the business that are sometimes very tough to get around, but there's nothing more important than to have a family and a support system that says, hey, you do your best. If you fail, you fail. I'm still going to love you. I'm still going to support you. And the amount of confidence that gives you to go out and spread your wings and try things, it's truly inspiring and amazing. And like I said earlier, I wouldn't nearly as many ventures that I've tried over my career without her support.
There's also the sacrifice that I think people don't see. We see the end result, but we don't see the journey that goes on within the family and the sacrifices that are made. And when Gene first started, what a lot of people don't know is that he would leave Monday morning and drive 6 hours to Amarillo, Texas, and would come home Friday evening. And he did this for almost 10 years. Not like, let me get the business started and things, but it is the dedication and the time and the sacrifice that goes into it. And you do have to have both partners. You do have to have the one that keeps, the home fire going and stuff, but also knowing that what's being done and the sacrifices that they make, and there's no better person, he talks a lot about me, but I have the utmost respect and appreciation for the sacrifices that he's made, because he has missed some things, personal things, family things that even now my daughter's 31 years old, and she will still say, Dad, you weren't there when I was born, remember? So I should get this now, I pulled out the guilt trip a lot on that one.
Well, I said, I'm going to make my last trip because I know you're due here in like 3 weeks. So I'm going to go down there. They got some things I need to do, and I'll be back. And during that time, this is the early 90s, you had these cell phones, but these big bags that you had in your car. They weren't portable at all. So I worked until 9 or 10 that night, and then went to my apartment. And I got up the next morning, and there was the blinker on my message machine was blinking. And it was her dad going, "Hey, Gene, congratulations. You are a new father." I was like, "Oh, no." That was the fastest trip I ever made back to Wichita was that day. So
I told him, I really don't think you should leave. For some reason, I've got this feeling, But he goes, you're due in 3 weeks. You're going to be fine.
So
it is a sacrifice.
Yeah.
So at one point, you had 75 Pizza Hut franchises, but now there was a transition from where you significantly lowered that number to around 15 or 20.
Yeah.
Normally, when you're in that zone, you're just like, keep bringing them in. Let's get to 100. Let's get to across, 15 different states. What made you make that decision?
It's and it's different for every entrepreneur. How big do you want to be? How long do you want to keep at it? All those things. But in my mind, I think there are certain, your mind, your heart, your soul will tell you at times to say, you know what, maybe it's time to slow down a little bit. And I tell the story, and I tell the students all the time, I was literally driving to the airport to get on a plane to go to Indianapolis, where we had 50 plus restaurants. And I got about halfway there and I stopped and I turned around and went home. And I didn't want to go. And the one thing I tell for the entrepreneurs and would-be entrepreneurs is that if you don't have the passion and that fire anymore, it's time to get out because it will impact your business. Wow. And so within 6 or 8 months, I'd sold that market and we're down to 15 restaurants now. And you'll have those ebbs and flows in your business all the time. Yep. When I bought those 55 restaurants, it was the exact opposite. Had 20 restaurants. They were running really very well, making more money than I ever thought I'd make. But I said, I need another challenge. I wanted to get to a business to scale it so that I can have my chief marketing officer and chief financial officer and human resource person and all those things. And because that's what I was trained to do, is to run a business with all those different components to it. And so I wanted to see if I could do it. And that's the opposite end of the spectrum. But I think most entrepreneurs know that now's the time. And I was, obviously getting a little older too, and probably not as good as my job as I was before, but you'll have, I think most people have and realize those moments in their careers.
Yeah. Did that impact you guys financially? Were you guys still able to, a lot of people sometimes make decisions off of the money they're making, maybe because things are stable, or maybe because, we're living a certain lifestyle. I have to stay with these restaurants. I can't. But sometimes people don't want to leave knowing that it might even be a better emotional decision, but that money keeps them kind of going. How'd that work for you guys?
Yeah, well, if there's one thing our family and close friends know, but we don't spend a lot of money. And and the great thing about Pizza Hut restaurants is that they make a lot of money while you're running them, and you can sell them for a lot of money too. And so there's a big windfall when you sell, and then depending on how and I've always been a big proponent of, if I have debt, that's the first thing. Before I pay myself, I'm paying the banker back to get, and so anytime we sell businesses, they're debt-free. They typically have a lot of real estate because I like to own the real estate underneath them. And so when you have a business that's running well, doesn't have any debt, and has a lot of real estate associated with them, typically you come out all right on those things.
I think also looking at that too is that, Jim will always say, okay, when is enough enough? Well, you have to ask yourself. So yes, we can continue to keep making more money or doing whatever, but what is it giving you back in return, in a sense? And so I think that, yes, you'll have that sense of security and that kind of thing. But the most important thing, I think, for us, at least, is the fact that is this much amount is going to make any big of a difference, really, in where we are right now in our lives. And I think those are the questions you have to ask yourself. Are you driven by money? Are you driven by purpose? And I think those are the things that determine when enough is enough, and then what you can do with that.
I love that. And let's continue with you, Yolanda, because I love your story. A lot of people here can maybe think, you were the person that, held the house down, and you were the person that, took care of the kids and all that. But hey, you're a boss. You have one heck of a story. Talk a little bit about your undergrad, but then also grad, and name drop a couple of those things that you've done. Let's hear it.
Did my undergraduate here at WSU. I was a first-gen student. At that time, we didn't have a lot of programs like opportunities that are available to our students of color at that time. I had no idea what I was going to do, even when I graduated from high school. My father was in the military, and both of them didn't have a high school graduation or anything like that. My mother her family was much more from South Texas, and they were migrant workers, and so we worked the fields and things too. And so for me, my sister was already in college, and she was an education major. And I said, well, I guess I'll just go follow her because I don't know what else to do. So 2 weeks before classes started, I remember distinctly, applied, got accepted, and met with an advisor. She's telling me, you're taking these classes. you're taking, 14 hours of credit. I'm thinking I'm taking 14 classes because I didn't understand what college credit was. I didn't understand that whole system and stuff, and things. And so because of that, though, I became, and those that know, me already at WSU, what a big role that Dean Radigan played in my life. And he was at that time, was early 70s mid 70s and 73. And so in this country, we were going through a lot of social change. You had Vietnam War, you had, peace, you had Latino, Chicano power, you have Black power going on. Multicultural studies was becoming a big part of what was going on with college and, universities and things. And so that's what got me involved. And I always said that if I ever got an opportunity in which to help another student not go through the difficult times that I went through, then that's what I was going to do.
Wow.
And so I was an education major, did my student teaching, second grade,
Elementary education, right?
elementary education, and went and did my student teaching with kindergartners, and I said, oh, hell. Not just no, but I love education. I love kids. I was not made to be a teacher. But I knew that I still wanted to work with students, but they had to be older. Love kids. And my sister, who was an elementary education major, she taught for 32 years and probably the best teacher I know, and someone I admire tremendously with that. And I think for all students to know whether you're going to start a business or whatever it is you've got to test the waters sometimes to realize what it is that you want to do.
So good.
And then I was at Newman, so I went to Newman University and was in their admissions and was recruiting students and creating, programs for our students of color and stuff to create that diversity within the college campus and stuff too. And a friend of mine who happened to work at Harvard College, her and I were the only two Latinos on the road that did admissions. And so anyone who did admissions knows, I see, Bobby and some of the other ones and stuff who are in admissions, no, you're always on the road recruiting. Wow. And then so her and I, so we became friends and we would room together because we just, had a lot in common.
Yeah.
And then very few women on the road and especially Latinos. And so she called me one morning and said, hey, there's a position at the Kennedy School of Government here at Harvard University that you should apply for. And I'm like, Lisa, I'm in Wichita, Kansas, first of all, right? I do not have a graduate degree. I just had my undergraduate. So for all the reasons that I was telling her why I wouldn't get hired, she was giving me all the reasons of why I would get hired. And at that time, we didn't have emails or whatever. She goes, the only thing you are out is a stamp that you put on that envelope. And the rest is history. I was able to, go there, and Gene followed me and went to the business school. And it's just
That's the reason why I went there to Harvard was I was persistent.
So I think we have crossroads that come into our lives all the time, and you just have to see which ones, because they really, truly do change your lives.
First of all, you're loving this conversation, right?
It's gracious. This is amazing.
I love that. And also, too, you're talking about, how things were in the 70s and there was, diversity things and a lot of tension and all that. But up here, now we're in 2024. I mean, look at the diversity here. You even have, Larissa. You have all these different things. Can we get a round of applause for this diversity and the growth that we have going on here? Come on. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. So, let's talk about that transition from elementary ed to a different career path, because a lot of people, especially students here, right? They're probably in a major, marketing, business, whatever. And for me, when I majored, I went to Sterling College. Anybody know Sterling College? You guys heard of me? Yeah. Come on, there we go. ACAC. So it was a fun time there, and I majored in economics and finance and political science. And I told myself, I have to be in this career path. If I'm not in this career path, I'm a failure. I have to be in it. I feel like a lot of students also put that pressure on themselves as well. How do you maybe say, or how do you start to get your mindset to say, it's okay. Maybe if I'm not in finance, I can maybe dabble into other things. If I switch my career path, I'm not a failure.
We've got a good story.
Well, for me, my undergraduate was in accounting and business administration. So that my first few years was in public accounting.
That's the one.
Oh, and yeah, I wanted to be a doctor, actually.
I love how wives always correct the husbands. Yeah. Always correct them.
She knows my story better than I. But I hit that third semester chemistry class. I was like, I won't say hell no, but but I did. But I just said, nah, I don't think I can make. So I switched to business at that point in time, and started out in public accounting. And then I actually went out and worked for Cook Industries. Got some really good work experience there. But I figured, but after about 3 or 4 years of the accounting type, I just said, this isn't working for me. I don't want to be counting the numbers. I want to be making the numbers. And so how do I best do that? Do I go work for an entrepreneur and learn how to run a business kind of from the inside out? Could do that. Or do I go back and get more education? For all you students in here, education for us was the deciding factor, the leveling field that provided us the skills, the confidence, all those things. So, and you've got a great business school here, so stay here. And I said, so I'm going to go get some more education. And Yolanda had already made the move to Harvard, and I hadn't really told her this. I said, well, I'm just going to apply to Harvard, and not knowing, it's fairly selective, and
just a little bit, just a little.
I'm incredibly supportive of Gene for everything, but when he said he was applying to Harvard Business School, I was like, oh, he's not going to get in. And the reason I say that, not that I didn't believe in him or anything, is that I knew how hard it was to get into the Kennedy School of Government because I was on that. That's what I would do, and things and do the admissions and things. And I knew it was twice as hard to get into the business school. And again, we sell ourselves short in what we can accomplish and what our skills are and things. And I was doing that as well.
You are a preacher right now. You are just preaching. Keep going.
But so when the dean called and said, "Oh, Gene got accepted," I was like, "What?" I think, wow. But he worked so hard. I mean, his calendar was up. He had a timeline. He had his goals. He was so organized and things. And that's what got him in.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is I only applied to one school.
Yes.
So,
good.
And it was, it's the results are a function of the effort. So I did a lot of studying for it. At that point, it was the GMATs, the GRE now. I didn't study for it, and I scored well. And luckily, I got in. So my journey, my investment in Yolanda continued. I was able to continue that journey.
Yeah.
And so we spent 2 great years at Cambridge together, and it was wonderful and incredible. Yeah.
I think what I love as well is that you guys got to spend, Harvard's one of the most prestigious schools right in the world. And you guys got to do that. A lot of people sometimes, when they get the opportunity, they might, either give back to that community, they might want to stay in that area. And what I love about people in Wichita, and even myself, sometimes we can let the community tell us to say, hey, look, go to Dallas, right? Go to Kansas City, go to New York. And that's where the opportunity is. But if you understand the opportunity and the love in the community that is right here in this city, you're going to say, yeah, I went to Harvard, but I'm coming back here to supporting my city. Think about that.
I'm going to tell you a story about that one because, and I was just talking to somebody yesterday about that, and I can't remember who it was, but I was, my thing was I was going to go to Washington, D.C., I was going to work in, do politics, I wanted to work at the White House, those kind of things. Because when you went to the Kennedy School of Government, that's the transition. That's kind of basically what you would do. And then I came back home and, we got married and I'm thinking, God, do I still go? We can commute, we can do this kind of things, whatever it was. But I had a good friend of mine, Ana Vidial, who is now in San Antonio, but she was at Butler. And she said, here's the deal, Yolanda. She says, you can go to D.C., you can even go to San Antonio, you can go everywhere. But you know what? There were a lot of people like you already there. You know, our kids don't have that role model for that person that has your background and your education and can really give something to these kids who don't have that right now. And so you can make a bigger difference here in Wichita, Kansas,
Come on.
than you can somewhere else.
Come on.
And I tell you what, it was so true. And it made me really stop and think, what's important? You know, if everything I always said I was going to do was to help others, then what other place would be a better place than to start right here? Because at that time, the Latino student dropout rate was at like 69, 70%. I mean, we were losing our kids who were not finishing high school. And that's what got me into higher ed. And that's what got me into developing our scholarship programs and creating opportunities. And I always said, so when that number starts slowing down, I said, and it's finally getting to the point where our students are graduating, which they are now, then I don't have to do that anymore. Well, now our numbers are very low for students graduating from college. So I'm back in the business again. So of getting our students now
Amazing.
graduating, you know, from college now, so that we can increase those numbers and create an incredibly important, diverse workforce.
Yeah, talk about the scholarship program, right? So you guys help students that are of color, Latino, blacks, to what is it? Is it graduate? Is it high school, college? Talk about it.
A college student, and I got some of them. Are they Latino scholars? Just raise your hand.
We have some scholars here in the house. Come on, there we go. I love that. Another one over there. Come on, that's amazing.
You know, I saw them coming, and we have our KHEDF. I don't know if I have any KHEDF students in the audience or not. But
I think we have one back there. That's amazing. Congratulations.
yeah,
Totally dope. So how long has this program scholarship been going on for?
I get it.
Well, we started it in, I think our Adelante scholars are now juniors.
And what's that word you guys would say? What's it called?
Adelante is a Spanish word for moving forward, for advancing, you know, and things that we just thought that was important, that our students know that, you know, that's what you want to do, is you want to continue to grow.
Yeah. So, and really, you know, there's a lot of scholarship programs out there, but and the one thing that I'll tell you about Wichita State is incredibly easy to work with and partner. And I congratulate, you know, President Muma and all his staff because when we put this scholarship together, we weren't just writing a check. We were saying, all right, and it's the way we operate. It's when invest or give, we want to be involved in every detail. And it's like some people like that, some people don't. But President Muma and his staff and Shirley and they said yes. And so it's really a holistic approach to a scholarship program that obviously included a financial component of it, but there was funding for staffing for the DEI office here, for also staffing for a recruiter that went out and recruited students of color. We had a visiting professor of color as well. And because you know, our goal is always to have every organization, company, business that you know, as our country grows more diverse, I think it's really critical that the employee base, the team members need to be diverse as well, and I think you make better decisions with people from different backgrounds and experiences and that. And so that holistic approach to the scholarship program was something that we felt was really important. Yolanda went through all the applications and interviewed the students, and we meet with them at least 3 or 4 times a year, having at our house, or President Muma has them for lunch or breakfast at his home. And the results have been nothing short of amazing. And you know, we have over a 90% retention rate. where I think it's around 48% for typical college students.
Amazing.
And our cumulative GPA so far is above 3.3.
Amazing.
So, and a lot of, yeah.
That's good. That's good. That's really good. Right. Come back.
And our students are, we know they're brilliant, but they never cease to amaze us. But, you know, a lot of them, you know, first gen, and that's you know, and that's basically our focus has been over the last 30 years, is creating educational opportunities for as many students, especially from underserved communities.
Last question here for Yolanda. My bad. Was that me? All right, cool. All right, so last question for you, Yolanda. You went to Wichita State, and now that you got to travel the world, go to Harvard, all those things, when you come back and you see the Barton School of Business, you see the improvements on campus, you see, you know, the impact you're making on students, just truly in the inside, how does that really make you feel?
Oh, I'm so proud to be part of Shocker Nation. I mean, you know, what they've created and what they've done is, you know, a vision that is important for the city of Wichita. But really, I think you're seeing a national, you know, I mean, WSU, I think, has really become more of a nationally valued institution at different levels and things. But so for me, I mean, it's, you know, we had just kind of the smaller campus, and we'd go to different, you know, just Clinton Hall was kind of the big one, and things too. But now to see, oh my gosh, every time I drive on campus, I still can't believe, God, I didn't even know this was here, you know.
Probably makes you kind of a little bit upset. I wish you had this, right?
Yeah. You know, yes and no. And the reason why is because at that time, there wasn't that need. There was always a need, but it's hard to have that vision and think. But I think our young people now have that vision. They're bright, they're smart, they want to succeed, and not that we didn't either at that time, but some of it we didn't know. And so I think because of all the changes, you know, with social media and just so many different things that's available to them, you have to keep up with that.
Yeah.
And you have to, as a university, know what's important in order for our students to be prepared for the next.
Fiala, just so you know, I am part of Shocker Nation too now.
Come on, baby. Come on. Okay, all right. We'll wrap that up. Gene and Yolanda, I want to say thank you. I mean, I've gotten to do a few of these things, and the students, the audience, they were truly locked in. You guys talked about relationships, and more importantly, you guys talked about, like I said, chemistry, business, and all of that. So you guys inspired me. I know you guys inspired all these people here. So from the bottom of my heart, on behalf of everybody, I want to say thank you. Truly. One more time for Gene and Yolanda, everybody. One more time.
Well, on behalf of the Barton School of Business, we have quite a few faculty and staff in the room, and our students, I'm sure they'll come away from this truly inspired. We have top-notch faculty. They are transforming lives of our students on a daily basis, and our students, I'm sure they're going to take away many lessons. I got to know Gene and Yolanda over a short period of time, and I've already been putting into action all the tactics that they're mentioning on both ends of this journey. So you kind of have to listen with intention. My job is awesome, and there are some days where you need to unpack the worst case scenarios, and that worked already on a number of occasions, and actually even better than it was originally intended. So I just want to say that the Barton School of Business is on a journey to really elevate the student experience and success, create industry-aligned programs. We have a very ambitious strategic plan called Bloom, because we're contributing to blooming talents, our students, blooming businesses, and of course, contributing to blooming Wichita. So we want to thank you for contributing to our blooming journey, and we want to present to you special trophies that will reminiscing this day today. And by the way, wanted to mention that we kicked off our Entrepreneur in Residence duet with a breakfast with the leadership team of the Barton School. Today's the keynote, and it's going to unfold with them meeting one-on-one with students, mentoring sessions, They're going to visit with our Student Managed Investment Fund group, Widener Global Leaders Program participants, and also do guest lectures and many, many other initiatives. So we are beyond grateful to you and really inspired. Please join me in a round of applause.
One more round of applause for Gene and Yolanda, everybody. One more round of applause. There we
Thank
go.
you so, so much.